I need to work on that intro because there's like this big black space in between. I'm not talking about Mgyx. I'm talking about like a black scene that shows up.
Really? It's like that? It's like that?
Check this out. PVG brought all kinds of
you know you're not in camera, right?
Can you see that now?
I can see it now, but you were cut off. I see an edge of PVG. And you're just...
Unfortunately, Mgyx can only see like our groin area.
Yes, it's very disturbing.
I'm wearing sweatpants too. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Technically Trek. Sunday night, we're live.
What should our viewers be seeing?
What should our viewers be seeing? Let me do a clap test. Clap test to see our latency.
Oh, there it is. Now it is.
1, 2, 3. That's only like 4 seconds at the most.
It was my YouTube stream was still on the black area. It was on darkness.
PVG, what was this one? A Discovery?
Yes, that was a Discovery.
It's a Discovery phaser. Oh, what was?
Like
no, wait.
I
thought you said this one was Discovery.
They are both Discovery. One was a resin cast, and the other one was
made in China.
Yes.
My friend is obviously Chinese. Caught his head in a mechanical rice picker.
You know, if only they would say those types of like quotes today, then we'd have entertaining television.
Yes. Yeah.
But everybody's scared to say anything.
Well, in news of that, apparently the Starfleet Academy series that's going to come out is going to harken back to the good old banter days of Buffy the Vampire, where they're going to have some possibly non-woke jokes in there now.
You mean where they can make fun of like a Chinese person not being able to drive well? That kind of joke?
Sure.
What?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's up to you.
Chinese person being good at math?
I mean, or a doctor.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I thought it was the Indian guys. So that's so
they're
smart.
both doctors. Indian people, all the Patels are always doctors.
Right.
And because that's actually, so I learned this a while back. Apparently, a lot of the last names determine the career path you go into.
Yeah, that's all predetermined.
That's why, like, you'll see a lot of doctors that are Patels. A lot of engineers have a different name. Like they're, what is it's actually an Eastern thing. It's like your last name determines what you're going to be. So if your last name is Barber, your grandfather was your daddy was a barber, your grandfather was a barber, your barbers all the way back till
your kids going to be barbers.
Started. Right.
Yeah.
Except for the daughters, because the daughters take on the other names.
They just get married off, right?
Yeah. So why is it
For
that
goats.
I'm just stuck looking at your groins?
Because, all right, let me try to fix it real quick. But one of my cameras just went dead. So this had to become the camera. So normally the wide shot camera, I had to convert that to the camera pointed at me. So you used to watch our wide shot camera so you could see us both. Right. But that's now, for me, the camera that normally pointed at me is dead. And so the camera that was sitting on the table for my drinks is now what's pointed at us. Attempted to. But hold on. Let me see if I can... Oh, yeah. Sorry about this. That is my groin. For real.
Just saying.
Nice.
Oh, my.
Right?
I don't know. Is this is a little better?
Let me see.
A little bit gooder.
Slightly better. Let me move.
It's slightly better.
Okay.
That's at least giving off mid 80s, early 90s hip hop vibes. Y'all honestly look like you're shooting a Beastie Boys video, which is ironic because the Beastie Boys are in all of the Star Trek, are featured in all of the new Star Trek movies.
Kelvin.
Because they're huge Star Trek fans, and apparently the one that did the original Star Trek, they weren't down with it. They weren't down with putting the Beastie Boys in, even for cameos. However, JJ was like, "Fuck yeah, that's free music right there."
Yeah, it is. I got distracted.
Which
I
I'm
missed a
still
step.
waiting for Intergalactic to be dropped in one of these damn movies. And I'm upset that the most apparent song that should be in there is not.
Okay, I think we're all set now. Okay, so to our viewers, we were a few minutes late getting started because one of the Canon R100s would not turn on. And so we had to do a camera switcheroo. Thankfully, we have 4 Canons in the setup. And one of the Canons was just used as a drink table camera.
Are your cannons always turned on, like permanently turned on?
Yeah, but until I flipped the power strip, then they shut off.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot to plug mine in to the Govee strip. So my camera's been on for like 4 months.
Incoming transmission.
Say
I don't know if that's good or
say
not.
hi to Crewman Sherry.
Hello, Yeoman Cherry.
Yeoman. Is that a
Yeoman.
promotion?
I thought Yeoman was below Crewman. Actually, I thought they were the same thing. What's higher, Yeoman or Crewman?
We might need the man in the chair to answer that one.
We need a person in the chair. Hint, hint, Cherry. You're getting ahead. This is how you start. This is how Big E started. Big E was the guy in the chair, and now you can become the person in the chair. I don't know if you will feel offended if we call you gal in the chair, or if you prefer person in the chair. Although I would say gal in the chair because I don't think we're woke here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say gal in the chair. Vulcans do bluff. And I just realized why Spock shows emotion, because I totally forgot about this key factor, is that Spock skipped his not Ponfar, the process of purging emotions. He skipped out of that. That's why in the early episodes you hear him like with outbursts and shit like that, or get mad. I'm like, why don't you ain't very Vulcan? And then I realized after I watched one of his things, one of the early episodes, he skipped out on that essential step.
One of the OG episodes, maybe the only OG episode I watched this week, was the one where he had to go back to Vulcan so that the calling, where he had to go back.
He had to get his bang, 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 bang. I just watched that one.
Yep, with T'Pau.
Oh, I'm going to tear that ass up. I'm going to tear that ass up.
Yeah, guy was getting violent. Yeah. The hormones, boy, them hormones were like pushing.
Yo, he was straight when he was up against the wall on that little timeout. He was giving very R vibes.
Yeah,
that was very R vibey.
And he wasn't too distraught when he thought, Kirk was dead. He just thought, all right, now it's time to do the bang bang thing.
No, yeah, it had to be done.
Yeah, and so. And then when he got back to the ship, but that made me think of the emotion thing, because when he saw that Kirk was still alive, he had this big laugh, like, his outburst. Yeah, he laughed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it sounded like, actually.
Wow, T'Pau was sitting there going, "Fuck to it."
Wow.
Ponfar.
Sherry typed a lot of words.
All right, what do we got here? Watch the TT video about. Hold on, my blind ass can't read that.
TT must be TikTok.
About LN. Oh, TikTok video about Leonard
Oh,
Nimoy.
yeah, okay.
It was about the last few weeks of his life. It was sad, yeah, kind of cool. He seems like he was a pretty good guy. He was, but he was also a dick. So, and a lot of people don't want to hear that. But apparently, he was a dick, to the point where he didn't want to come back for Star Trek 2. Like a lot of the films, he didn't want to do.
How dare you?
And then I guess at some point he had a turning point in his life where he was like, I will come back, but only if you bring back these other people as well. He did that with the animated series. So if you wonder why Chekhov is not in the animated series, there was no one there to stand up for him. But originally, Uhura, Sulu, and Scotty weren't going to be in the series either. And then Leonard Nimoy said, I'm not going to come back unless you bring them back as well. And he just left Chekhov out in the cold.
Wow.
So Walter Koenig's not in the animated series at all, which is supposed to technically be the season 3 of the original Star Trek. But yeah, apparently he was a dick for a couple of things, like people that knew him and interviews and reactions. But there's a lot of people that think Janet Jackson is cool, and the time that I met her, she was a bitch. So that was my last impression.
Did you call her Miss Jackson?
No, fuck that. I just asked for an autograph. Granted, it was like 3:00 in the morning in Tucson International Airport. There was like 10 people there, but still. Dude,
You got to cut the lady some slack. What were you doing there?
We were picking up. They were flying. The flight was coming in from California. We were picking up my aunt, so they came in on the same flight, and only 10 people got off. So there was
Janet
like 10
Jackson
people.
was flying commercial.
I guess.
Are you sure it wasn't the Janet Jackson from Friday?
No, dude, it wasn't. No, that's Freddie Jackson.
Yeah, see,
No, this is
PVG
way
is
back
making
then.
good
This
use
is
of
awesome.
He's making good use of the Stream Deck.
can't
We've
stop.
gotten a little lazy with it.
Dude, I just got my Stream Deck working again. Like I said, this update, this, because I remember you were like, oh yeah, we used to have Stream Deck wars or Soundbite wars.
Yep.
For the
I was like,
viewers
man,
out
let me
there, this is a Stream Deck.
I'm on. Yes, it was Penny from Good Time, Cherry, but this was this is maybe right after she came out with her album. Like, it was out, but it wasn't like big yet. So
Which album? Like Rhythm Nation or something?
yeah, it was like one of her early albums. Like, it was not. I knew who Janet Jackson was, obviously, and she had an album out, but she wasn't the blown up Janet Jackson that we know. Like, Rhythm Nation had just came out, like in very early days. So like, oh yeah, hey, that's Janet Jackson. That's Michael Jackson's little sister. Or that's Penny from Good Times. But it wasn't, oh my God, it's Janet Jackson. It wasn't like a huge entourage. It was her and I think 2 or 3 security guards, maybe an assistant. That was it. And like I said, it was me, my mom, one of my brothers, and I think one of my other aunts. And we were at baggage claim and just asked her at an airport. And she was just like, "Yeah." And I'm not talking like I was a teenager. I think I was a kid. I was like 11, 12. So it wasn't like one of those fanboy, oh my God, Jed. It was like, hey, excuse me, can I have your autograph? Yeah. And she just kind of blew it off. And I was just like, there ain't nobody in. What? And that was my impression at the time was I wanted to say some slick shit because back then I did not have a filter on my mouth, and that got me in a lot of trouble. And I got the underarm fat pinch from like my aunt and my mom. And I was just like, let me just shut the fuck up. So yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah. How did Leonard Nimoy get to a Janet Jackson?
Because everybody thinks he's cool and he's like, oh, he's so great, his character's so great. Like, no, it's a dick. It's kind of like people that are just, oh yeah, I've never met so and so, but I watch him on TV. They're such a great person. I'm like, that's an act. That's not the real person.
Yeah.
Like, I would. That's like everybody saying, "Oh, Picard or John." Oh my God, what the fuck is his name?
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. That's like say, oh yeah, Patrick Stewart's got to be awesome. You don't know how he is. He could be dropping f-bombs left and right.
But I heard Riker was awesome. I heard Riker was cool in real life.
I've heard a lot of things about Riker, and I've seen enough podcasts. Like, he spends so much time in front of the camera, not just acting, but like on podcasts. He was on the Battlestar Galactica podcast. It was on multiple Star Trek podcasts. He's just on a bunch of people's. Obviously, he's on Wesley Crusher's podcast. And he's just spent so much time in it, you kind of figure this has got to be his personality because he's on and in front of everything. And on some of these podcasts, he's cussing. He was like, that was some dumbass shit. I was like, I can't believe I fucking did that. But we pulled that shit off and it was fucking awesome. I'm like, cool.
Normal guy. Hey, that brings me to one of the bullet points from our thumbnail, which is if Paramount came to you and said, pitch us your idea for a Star Trek based series, it's approved, it's funded, you pick the cast, what's that show gonna be?
Man, I got a couple. So one of them is following, and this is I'm going to pitch this as a maybe 8 or 10 episode series.
Like a limited run series, like one season?
Yeah.
Okay.
And possibly, if possible, it'll end with a possibility of going on to season 2. But it's going to take all the godlike creatures, starting from the original series, and even the prequels, if there's any instances of them, but I don't recall any instances of them. And it's going to be following how all of the godlike creatures, because I just watched season 2, episode 2 with Apollo of the original series. It's going to follow.
Was it Apollo or was it Adonis? What was his name? Was it Apollo?
Or I don't know. Apollo or Adonis, I don't know.
It was Apollo.
Either one.
Okay.
But then you got Charlie, and then you got the one with Mitchell, where he becomes a godlike omni. It's gonna follow. It's gonna tie all those stories in to how those are the predecessors of the Q, and then it's gonna follow up on how Q determines how he's gonna go fuck with Kirk, or not fuck with Kirk, but fuck with Picard. And then fuck with Janeway, and it's gonna follow up to the new series. So it's kind of like a behind the scenes second look, and it's a lot of them are gonna have like flashbacks, but this is something that's very easy to get past because you already have most of the footage there, and it's more like a storytelling. Hey, we've been around for eons. The other one that I thought of was obviously the Borg. How V'ger,
like an origin story of the Borg?
How Starfleet inadvertently created the Borg themselves. They created their worst enemy with V'ger, and how it gets this interplanetary. And
I am going to take both of your ideas and ask you a question about a theory that I've seen online that have to do with both of your ideas, which is the idea that Q created the Borg to destroy the LRN, which I think is Guinan's race. So someone has a theory that Q created the Borg to destroy that race of people because that race of people could detect changes in the timeline and would always kind of make noise about when the Q did something drastic, and so they didn't want anybody to be able to be able to go back and say, oh, the Q's at it again, according to Guinan's people. So the race of Q said, let's create the Borg and have them destroy that race. But then the Borg got out of hand and, started destroying. So I guess
Guinan's Matrix.
Guinan's race.
So Guinan would be the Oracle.
So in Generations, right, Guinan's people were on refugee ships. Because I guess their world had been destroyed.
Yeah, their species had already been spread out because the Borg they were attacked by the Borg.
Right.
And then they were on a refugee ship that got rescued because of the Nexus wave destroyed the next
So
planet.
part of the theory is the Nexus wave is like a phantom zone. So it's like a prison, but you don't think it's a prison because everything is nice, like a Matrix type thing, right? Everything in the Nexus is like heaven.
So then the question is where, I mean, this in itself would be a good series. Where's the Nexus now? And how did the Nexus begin? Did the Q create the Nexus?
Right. Does the Nexus just disappear?
Oh, no.
All right.
No, because
did we all watch Generations? Did we all watch Generations?
Hold on. If Q created the Borg to defeat LRN, it very likely, and this is very much like the Matrix saying, one of the Q said, no, you overcomplicated that, and now this thing is running out of whack. Just make it simple.
Yeah.
Just wipe them out without wiping them out of existence. Create a natural phenomenon that'll go through the entire universe on the path of these people, because we can see past, present, and future.
But instead, they created Agent Smith.
No, they created the Nexus that went around.
But I mean, the equivalent from you were bringing up the Matrix, so I'm telling you the equivalent.
The equivalent is Species 8472.
You're mixing.
Aha!
You're 8472. You're saying 8472 is the remedy, the cure for the Borg?
8472 was the cure. Like, oh shit, we fucked up. We released the virus. The virus got out of hand. Okay, let's release the wave. Oh shit, that's out of hand, or that didn't work because the primitives were able to stop it. Now we need something else that's going to take care of both of these: the LRN and the Borg and the remnants of the wave. That can't be stopped because the humans, the primitives, can't get to it. Let's create Species 8472. And because the Borg are engraved with this whole, Picardness, you left clues, we're going to find it. Voyager seeks out subspace, finds Species 8472. The Borg are like, oh shit, it's these motherfuckers again.
Well, do you think that's why Q went to Picard at first, is to say, maybe not outright, but to introduce Picard to the Borg, to say, maybe to find out if humans could defeat the Borg?
I think so. I think he's trying to clean up his shit.
So it was Q trying to clean up his mess by bringing Picard out to the Borg.
See, that would be like the final 3 or 4 episodes of the limited series would be showing how Q was like, fuck, I fucked up. I got to own this shit. And it shows Q going back and reaching out to Picard, and then showing the rest of Picard season 3 and the various timelines and how they eventually fucked up the Borg.
Okay.
I mean, because think about that. A lot of that footage is already shot. I mean, you'd have to do some remastering with the Voyager and the 4x3s to match 16:9, but I mean, it could be done.
Let's, while we're on this topic of the Nexus, let's talk about Generations.
It was horrible.
I didn't think it was horrible. I thought it was okay.
Shitty.
But here's my problem. Here's my beef with Generations. And maybe I'm reaching, but what I would have done, here's what I would have done, because the Nexus means you get a do-over, right? Like what Picard should have said to Kirk is, let's go back right before Soren, fires the missile and destroys the star, which then destroys some, I guess millions of billions of people or whatever. Let's just come up with a game plan. We're going to let it happen again because we're just going to come back out of the Nexus right before it happens the third time. And then
I don't think you can do that.
But they did it once.
Because I think you have limited time while the Nexus wave is encompassing your planet.
Okay. Now
so it's got to be
okay.
So it's got to be like if the wave is coming this way and your planet is the microphone, you got maybe 2 chances or possibly 3, but you can't just repeatedly go over it over and over and over it because eventually the wave is going to be well gone. and you're just going to be stuck in it. And anything you do in the Nexus is not going to have any relevance.
Let me ask you this. Here's my problem then. This is a problem with whoever wrote this plot. Now I have a problem. Because here's what's going on. The Nexus, the first time through, right? I mean, Kirk's already in the Nexus. He's chopping wood. You know, he's living the good life. He's happy. Picard and Soren get pulled into the Nexus. And at first, Picard's happy. We don't know what Soren's doing. But we know he's in the Nexus. And Picard's got like 50 kids or something. Papa! But then Picard's like, this isn't real. This isn't right. So here's my thing. If Picard's, and then Guinan's in there, right? Like an echo of Guinan. It's not the real Guinan, but there's an echo of Guinan in the Nexus that tells Picard, you can leave the Nexus before Soren fires the missile. And here's my problem with that. Why does Soren get pulled out of the Nexus just because Picard wants to go back in time? Because what? Huh? Because if somebody decides, like, what if just some random Joe in the Nexus says, I want to come out of the Nexus when I'm a little kid and just live my life over? Right?
What do you mean Soren when did Soren get pulled out of the Nexus?
No.
By Picard.
When they went back in time. Remember? I mean, this is how Kirk dies. They come out of the Nexus. Picard,
they don't come out of the Nexus. They just reset the Nexus. They never leave it. They just restart. They
have to leave it. They leave the... Guinan tells them you can go back to any point in time.
Right. In your memory. That's why Kirk keeps going back and jumping the
if
horse,
it was in their memory, Picard... Yeah. I'm challenging your thought.
All right.
Because if it was just their memory, then it wouldn't have mattered because billions of people wouldn't have been saved.
Because they're not within, I think it's a proximity, because think of it this way. There's an 80-year difference from when Kirk entered the Nexus and Picard entered the Nexus. So Kirk is still cooking breakfast for that chick every morning, riding the horse every morning, doing all this other shit. He just keeps reliving the same spot. Because
Kirk says he's just... Guinan tells Picard, from Kirk's perspective, he just got into the Nexus.
Because he's been reliving. It's like lucid dreaming.
He said he was on the Enterprise, and then all of a sudden he's chopping wood.
Chopping wood.
So he's lucid dreaming. So he's just... But in the regular timeline...
You're unmuted now. Ooh.
But in the regular timeline of things, 80 years have passed. That's what I said. It's his perspective. That's what I'm saying. They never leave the Nexus. They just reset that time frame.
But they got to wait. See, now you're talking crazy. If they don't leave the Nexus, then how does Picard get back to reality?
Because he destroys the wave. This is why I said...
No, the wave just misses the planet. Have you actually watched this movie? Did you watch this movie?
Sorry, they didn't destroy the wave. They were trying to destroy a planet to change the path of the wave.
They were just changing the course.
This is part of the plot errors with the movie. This is why I said it kind of sucks. Because and this is what I kind of...
This is a weak plot. This is a weak plot.
So think of it this way. All right. Tom is in Illinois, and you get sucked into the Nexus, all right?
Yeah.
And then a month later, I'm in California, I get sucked into the Nexus. From Tom's perspective, he was just doing the podcast, and he's now in there. In reality, 30 days have passed. But for Tom's perspective, he's in the Nexus, and he's reliving the good old days at Pizza Hut. And then I get in, and I'm reliving the good old days at Pizza Hut. Now we're basically sharing a dream, so to speak. We're sharing a Nexus experience. But then I think, oh, I remember that one time where I saw that motorcycle, and then all of a sudden, Tom is going after a ball or delivering pizza, doing whatever, and he turns around and I'm gone. I'm really not gone. I'm just in my own experiencing a time where I was riding my motorcycle. And Tom is told like, "Oh yeah, this is just the good old days," and he doesn't even realize I've left because that perception of me is now no longer there.
Yeah, but check it
That's
out.
what I'm saying. This is a weak plot point.
You're right.
Because then the aspect is, if they leave the Nexus, where do they go?
Well, according to Echo Guinan, they can go back to reality. They can choose to leave the Nexus. Why anybody would do that, nobody understands. Because if
Then why wouldn't they go back and save Kirk again, so he doesn't die?
Well, so that got to my next point, which is when Picard realizes that Kirk is hurt, why not just let Soren launch the missile and have the Nexus hit them again? Then they could reset.
This is why I think I think you have limited time. I think ultimately the prime timeline of things, you got a small
I think it's bad writing. I think it's bad writing.
It is. It definitely left.
It's a writing gap. I think it's a gap in I think Star Trek in general doesn't do time travel and time paradoxes well.
I don't think they did it well back then. I think enough other sci-fi shows have seen the errors that Star Trek has gone through and make corrections to it. But according to Star Trek, they're playing time travel all loose and willy-nilly like it's back.
It's always different though. Like there's always a different effect of time travel.
Like, okay,
it's not consistent with Star Trek.
You can sling around the sun to time travel. You can put in a certain warp equation in the warp engines in the computer and initiate time travel. Why didn't the crew of the Enterprise do any of that? In Generations. Oh shit, we lost Kirk. Even before Kirk dies originally. Oh shit, we lost Kirk. That thing blew up. Let's go back and change it. You had the capability of doing it.
The temporal prime directive.
I don't think there was a temporal prime directive at that point in time, but I'm just saying they're very I like the fact that it was
communicator. Get your communicator.
They brought in they finally crossed over the old to the new. I think it definitely could have been done a whole lot better.
Sherry says, I thought they weren't supposed to do anything to change events. Weren't they only supposed to be observing? Ooh. I think I'm just not understanding your conversation.
I understand what you're talking about because I just watched Strange New Worlds where Una Chen Riley was put on trial for being an augment or a modified.
Yeah.
So, and the chick that and they're doing a court martial thing and the lawyer says, all right, so she did that. Okay. What's Star
Why
Trek
didn't you just say number one?
Because I just remembered her full name is Una Chen Riley. And I want to not forget that. Anyway, so the chick is like, oh, so prime directive. Oh, you got rules. It's kind of like
transmission.
Yes, you did. So she kind of pulls a Tom Cruise and Colonel Jessup conversation of A Few Good Men. He's like, oh, so you got rules and your captains never break these rules. Otherwise people die, right? Like this prime directive, right? So you don't mess with, but it was okay when so-and-so stopped a planet from being bombarded by these deadly meteorites. Oh, it was okay when you stopped this disease that was going to ravish everyone. Oh, it was okay when you stopped all these. They were like, well, no, those are different. It was like, no. They are okay because this captain that's sitting on the trial right now in the witness chair got awards, got promoted, got recognition for it by your entire government. Even though that's your prime directive, you're not supposed to do this or it's a court-martialable offense. Yet he did it multiple times and you were okay with it. Kirk has done it multiple times and they were okay with it. So it's only convenient when it's for you. So again, that captain, Scotty, any of them could have been like, oh, shit, we've time traveled a bunch of times. Hell, we just did a movie about time travel. Let's go ahead and do the thing we did to save the whales and bring back Captain Kirk and those other, people that were lost on decks 14, 15, and 17. They could have done that. And it would have been okay because you saved Admiral Kirk, greatest admiral of all time. But they didn't. Picard could have done it.
I was watching Voyage Home today, and there was quite a few times that I can see that the Prime Directive was violated. When McCoy and Scotty were talking to the guy at that company, hey, can you make this, that plastic aluminum? And
yeah. How would you like it if you take that 6 feet and you could do it in 1 inch?
Yeah. What? And they say, let's talk about this first. And McCoy is talking to Scotty, says, hey, if we tell him this, we're going to violate the Prime Directive. And then Scotty says, what if he's the one that created it, that invented this?
Right.
And then the time where McCoy gave that lady a pill to grow was it a kidney, I think?
Oh, yeah. The lady that was dying in the hallway.
Yeah.
I was like, take this and it'll be fine. She had terminal kidney disease. And by the end, they're leaving the hospital. It's like, oh, I'm perfectly fine now. And they're like, it's all gone. It's no longer there. It's perfectly brand new.
Yeah, it's there you go. And what happened to the gal at the Whale Institute?
She left the Enterprise and went to another science vessel, and she did pretty insignificant life. So after I watched The Voyage Home last week, I was like, whatever happened to that bitch? I looked it up.
Then meanwhile, back on Earth, she's just another missing person.
Exactly. So here's the thing. I'm okay with her being in the future. My thing is the repercussions of the past. So she's now missing. Okay, your wells are gone. You're obviously going to get more wells, and you had some connection to another institute, and you had a guy that was pining after you. He's going to be like, hey, my girl, that's not really my girl, is missing, and she hasn't been seen, and her parents aren't there anymore, and all these other things. How everybody's just like, okay, she's just left.
And if they could do it for her, why didn't they do it for Edith?
Yeah, Edith Keeler. Yeah,
they should have saved Edith.
But like I said, they're very willy-nilly. They were very willy-nilly about it. I think now, especially now that you have a Kelvin timeline, it's totally different. And actually, I just read an article that kind of explained that because of the Kelvin timeline, Discovery will never be in the Kelvin timeline because the events of it throw everything from Discovery off. There's no possible way for them to match him because their characters are no longer on the same paths as before, which kind of explains why Spock never mentions Burnham, but he does mention Cybok in the last episode that I meant of Strange New Worlds. He does mention Cybok because that's who this human chick was, I guess, married to and was trying to get freed from imprisonment from Vulcan was Cybok. And he mentions at the end of the episode, he's like, yeah, I was told never by my parents never to get in touch with this person. I'm like, who is it? Oh, it's my half-brother Cybok. I was like, wait a minute.
How many half siblings he got?
Yeah.
Got apparently a couple.
Sarek must have just been busy.
He was dicking down. But yeah, what would your series be? Or actually, hold on. PVG, what would your series be?
I would like to see where is Starfleet? When is it formed? Where does it begin? Does it come from Space Force? I don't know if.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Is
Wouldn't
this
that be Enterprise?
This is kind of that gap after Zephyr Cochrane
Oh, you're
comes out
talking
with the warp drive, and then before Enterprise.
I guess it would have to be.
Okay, you're talking about the middle part. Okay, yeah.
Right.
That would be kind of dope because
I
like
think
said,
that would be very interesting, even showing how the world, maybe even before Zephyr and Cochrane, like show how the world destroyed itself. Like maybe
I don't
show
wanna say
that,
that.
show that world war or whatever happens. Show the
I would
eugenics
say-
wars.
show the end of. Damn. I would say if you do that, because I'm looking at these as limited series runs, 8 to 12 episodes.
Yeah.
I would say definitely show the eugenics war because that actually and these first couple of episodes they need to make these like Band of Brother episodes, hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15. But you got to put the whole story in the episode because you can't spend so much time on eugenics war, so much on World War III, so that you could flesh out the rest of it. Because like show the technology change that the warp engine and everything that first contact led up to.
Can you see what he's got?
No.
Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Hold it. Yeah, there you go. See where Magic's.
So, PVG to Enterprise. Come in.
Enterprise. Spock here.
Just
You have a whole lot of throwaway money, don't you?
one, yeah. Just calling for a radio check.
Aye, sir. Yes, Captain. Affirmative, Captain. Enterprise out.
You definitely got throwaway money.
He's got Star Trek gadgets.
Shit like that. Where did that communicator come from? I mean, did the Star Tech lead to the communicator, which in turn led back to the Star Tech in reality?
You
That
know,
would be kind of dope to show that.
seriously, I think some of the technology that we have today, are we smart enough to really figure this crap out? I mean, just look at our phones. Yeah, exactly.
You know who it is?
AI, chat, AI is, or no? I think it's gonna lead to AI is gonna be what resolves this. We're gonna feed it so much. Oh my God, we are creating V'ger right now. We are creating the Borg right now because we are literally feeding AI through Chat GPT and all these other AI programs our questions and our knowledge, and then it's gonna correlate itself to be able to program this. We're like, oh, you want to travel to the moon? Oh, only 0.001% of you have the technical know-how to do this. Let's take all these people and put your information together and plot it out, because Chat GPT will give you a plot course to the fucking moon and back because we already did it, like literally on the show.
So what's more realistic then? Our future being more like Star Trek, or our future being more like the Matrix?
I think it's both. I think Star Trek is gonna. I think not chat. Well,
AI?
ChatGPT, but AI is gonna lead to a self-aware programming system
If they haven't already.
that is going to, like, one of my biggest things that I came up with like 30 some odd years ago when I started getting into computers. I was like, why? Because I learned how there's a component that is made by manufactured crystals where they program shit into crystals, like tracings and whatever for processors. I said, well, why don't they turn those into memory? Instead of having to stick a RAM that has to hold a electrical charge and copper pins and all that shit, why don't they just put these in crystals? Because crystals can hold a lot more data. And if you get to a microscopic level inside of literally a crystal the size of a sugar cube, could hold the processing power of every computer on the planet, because its tracing is done on the microscopic level. And AI is going to figure out how to do that and then make it smaller. And then they're going to be like, and then that's going to be our new cell phones or pads where it's gonna be like Big Ears, where I could say, Alexa, what's the weather? And it's gonna tell me.
Yeah.
By the way, we're drinking Twisted
Alexa,
Tea.
stop.
If anybody's wondering, we are drinking Twisted Tea.
I do have a beverage.
You got a beverage?
Actually, I have a mini fridge for beverages. Keep forgetting to drink them.
I mean, I think I like the idea of a Star Trek kind of like origin story of the Federation.
I don't want a Federation one. I want Starfleet. I like that one because Federation, we already know how that started. That's the end of Enterprise. But
Starfleet itself.
I want to see how we got from the warp engine, how we got to the warp engine, the technology that came leading up to that and after that, like communicators, transporters. Hell, I mean, when do we get to see everyone driving in flying cars?
Yeah.
Or do we just get rid of cars altogether and just say, all right, you now have a public transit, which is now shuttlecrafts? That kind of thing. Where is that going to? When did we come up with phasers? And how we went from, all right, what's phaser? Should we have pulse phasers that shoot out like ammunition, or laser phasers that are single beams?
Laser phaser.
Laser
phaser.
But that kind of thing. And then, okay, hey, we're now going to the moon or Mars on multiple occasions. It's not like a once a year where we have to wait. We're now able to go anytime we want. Let's build, what is it? The Plantatia, whatever the shipyard is.
Right.
That was, the building of that, the building of Starbase 1. Hell, that, how many people, after Vulcans made contact, how many people went to Vulcan? Show that beginnings of that first contact of being like, hey, you're ambassador for Vulcan, go to their planet and see how that worked. And that trip, you know what? Show a journey of the first ship that journeyed to Vulcan or to another planet with a different species. And it's kind of like Wagon Train. They're going there, but they're on
Wagon Train to the Stars.
There you go.
That's what they were going to name it.
Where they show the day-to-day life on this transport vessel. A bunch of the people on Enterprise, when they're like, oh yeah, my parents ran freight between Earth and Jupiter, or Earth and Saturn. What freight? What were they doing between those two? What is that day-to-day life then? And that you could call it Starfleet of the Stars. I don't know, something. Shit. Let me see here. I got the club vodka martini.
Let me see.
I don't know if that's coming out.
Yeah. Oh no, you're too close. Okay.
There you go. Double shot strong. I don't know if I should drink this because I've only had the 2 hamburgers.
Yeah, that could be a lot.
I need to go grocery shopping still. But I'm off tomorrow, so there's that.
Why are you off?
Cesar Chavez Day. Oh God. Was I supposed to shake this?
Think of the old scoring system and what's the number?
Oh God, 2.
Oh, that bad?
Dude, it's just...
What's the alcohol?
I think it's just 20%.
Oh, damn, you're going to die.
Was I supposed to mix this with something? Like, how do people drink martinis? This is disgusting. Oh, God. Well, something I could pour this in so I can get rid of it. Good thing.
Enterprise Bridge, Lieutenant Uhura.
This thing is cool.
I think I wanted that when I was a kid.
Hey, can anybody hear me?
Enterprise Bridge, Lieutenant Uhura.
Oh, and the little thing is spinning.
I honestly think they had one like that when I was a kid, and I think I really wanted that. But it was not in
Spock,
the,
are you there?
It was not in the
Enterprise
PX.
Bridge, Lieutenant Uhura. Enterprise Bridge,
Santa
Lieutenant
Claus
Uhura.
or Christmas. Toyland.
Enterprise Bridge, Lieutenant Uhura.
It was not in the PX Basic Exchange Toyland catalog.
Oh, PVG just brought refills. Every time PVG comes over, he brings a case of Twisted Tea.
Damn.
And the first, I think the first couple nights we went through 10 of them each. And then I think last time we only went through 8. But my
PVG
fridge
would've
is
been
starting to
good.
fill up with Twisted Teas.
PVG would have been good on the Technically Unsound podcast for their drinking days.
Yeah.
Most illogical.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. You're mute. Oh, there you go.
Make a name for myself here.
Wait, was that
That was-
that must have been Mgyx. All right.
Yeah.
We used to have, I'm telling you, we used to have the craziest sound effects. We would really go at it with the sound effects.
I ain't know my daddy, but I'm sure I shot out of his dick ready.
Wow.
Like these stream decks can be paged. Like these can be pages. So I got page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like 3 right now is like my main sound effect. 5, I got my Star Trek sound effects, but 3 is like kind of like, just whatever, like. Oh no! just
20 likes on Instafuck.
A minor.
You take that, Dicka.
I remember when we first started playing that Paul Rudd, we used to crack up a lot. It was so funny when we'd play that Paul Rudd.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to do a Star Trek one. I've saved a lot of clips that I know that could go on to the Star Trek one.
Yeah, that whole Kirk talking about the Chinese though. When I heard that, I said that is a must-have on the stream.
That is awesome.
And I have it saved, but I just haven't edited. I haven't put it into Audacity and cut it up and
cleaned
spliced
it
all
up.
together. Yeah.
No, ain't no party like a Diddy party.
I'm gonna put my dick in.
Yeah, we used to. I mean, we'd go like 15 minutes straight where we're all just taking turns pushing buttons, and that's the conversation. It's just the button pushing.
This is the best invention since sliced bread.
Oh yeah, the Stream Deck.
Oh.
Yeah, the Stream Deck's amazing.
Yo. And I just discovered some stuff about my Stream Deck today that I did not know.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I did not know that there's a Wavelink plug-in for it.
Oh yeah,
where I
for
can
sure.
control everything from there.
Yep.
But I can't figure out how to get my effects from the Wavelink as buttons on the Stream Deck.
Then you need to check with Nutty.
It's not that big of a deal because we're only doing
And
this on
declare
the
we all fan.
We ain't doing that.
I gave it a 10. A 10.
Hello?
Fucking 10.
Hello?
So I was gonna ask Sherry, what episode are you up to in your Star Trek journey? As I've completed season 2 or season 1, and I have started season 2
Of OG.
Of OG. I'm literally on. I just started episode 3 right before the show started.
What? Hold on. PVG's got more gadgets.
This is from the Calvin timeline.
I can't see it. You're too far away.
Oh, hold on. Look, can you see? Oh yeah, can you see it now? You have to blow up our screen.
Just
Oh, it's a Kelvin communicator.
Yep. See if you can hear it. There you have it, folks.
So Sherry hasn't finished season 1 yet.
Okay. Okay.
but she is still liking it and will continue to watch.
I mean, it's a good base to have because there's going to be so many things that go back to
Right.
the OG that I didn't, that I'm, and this is why I decided to watch it, is because as I'm watching it, there's these little bits and pieces of Easter eggs from the other shows that I didn't know tied all the way back to the original one. So that's kind of dope.
But let's look at this.
I'm on season 1, episode 6 of Strange New Worlds. Oh, I did have a question, seeing as you got some hyenas on the screen here.
I
bet you there has got to be. I need someone to post the behind the scenes footage. I know there was butt nakedness and titties just popping out everywhere on the OG show, because I'm watching this last episode with Apollo. There ain't nothing holding. I don't know. They got double-sided duct tape or something on her titties holding that dress up, because I was like, there is no logical way that could just be draped over her shoulder, cupping both titties, and have nothing around or waist or neck holding it up.
And if you have this on Blu-ray and on a nice flat screen, oh
my.
Yeah.
I was gonna say let's this is Lieutenant Marlene Moreau, and she was in the Mirror Mirror episode, right? So this is her, the one on the in both of these shots, this is her mirror version, right? So this is the mirrored alternate universe version of Lieutenant Marlene Moreau, and she just flat out said that she just goes from ship to ship and tries to conquer the male crew.
Okay. Get that bag.
And so what we were going to do is just rate her job performance.
I mean,
when I first saw her on the show, I thought, damn.
You got to show different.
Well, it's hard to get good high-res clips of OG.
I'm saying we need to see the back, the side as well. I need to see front, and at least front and side view.
I agree with that. Because side view, it can be flat as a pancake, and
exactly, and that could just leads to a bad HBA ratio.
Yep.
Right.
And because how her arms are, you can't see the hips, so you can't divulge anything. And that see-through muumuu she has on.
So with what you can see, though, what would you say? Like a 7?
Dude,
6?
Maybe a 6.
I would probably go 7. Yeah, because face is important to me.
Okay. I mean that.
I mean those other things are important as well, but if the face ain't right, nothing else matters.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at her shoulder, her arms, very much like a Barbie. Which very much gives the impression
not a lot
it's
of
gonna have
not
no
a lot
ass,
of shape,
no
not a lot of definition,
no thickness.
Yeah,
no thickness, no thighs, no nothing.
Her belly button looks off center.
Fucker.
I would give her a 9 because she looks a little Latino.
You have smoked yourself.
And back then, that was a big deal.
Yeah,
she looked like like an import. I was going to say,
yeah,
like an immigrant or something.
And Latino,
they like a Honda Civic, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
So I would give her a 9.
And back in the '60s, she would have been considered. What's that word like for exquisite?
Exotic.
Exotic.
She would have been considered exotic.
Yeah.
Okay, that's back in the day. You're asking me now, though.
All right.
Now she's just average. She's mid.
Yeah.
She's mid.
I'd still give her a spanking.
All right. Well, let's see how you feel about the next one.
Hey, I'm not saying I wouldn't.
PVG says 9. I say 7. You say 6.
I say 6.
And Kirk probably taps it.
Oh yeah.
But he taps a lot of stuff.
He's got so many space STDs.
All right, let's check this next one. You know I can't go an episode without a slide of Nurse Chapel.
Oh, I forgot how much I liked seeing her until I started watching Strange New Worlds again. There's something about her eyes that gets it. I'm definitely gonna say, and especially after this last episode, I know that she could get down when it's time to get down. I'm gonna go ahead and say low 9.
9 point? 9 point?
9.1, 9.2.
Okay.
You got to leave room for improvement, but
Okay.
I know she could get down. She can get down. Her and Mgyx, they got
Well,
down.
let me ask you this question then: who would be higher in the Star Trek universe?
Oh, I mean, there's
a
couple. You got number 1. Number 1 got some thickness.
Higher? Number 1 would be higher?
Number 1's got some highness. I mean, equal value
Incoming
almost.
transmission.
So you're saying a number 1 would be like a high 9 point?
Yes, to answer Sherry, 6 was definitely good. Yeah, I'm definitely going with a high 9s. There's a couple others that I've seen, but I can't remember their.
Well, like Yeoman
I need
Rand?
to see the pictures.
Yeoman Rand?
No,
the original.
No. Her personality fucked it up for her. After watching these episodes, like, that just...
Yeah, she had it, and then she didn't have it.
Right.
So...
I mean, you also got the newer Nurse Chapel, which kind of had some things that were working for her, but not a whole lot. I mean, Star Trek is just one of those, and I think I told you this before. They're not down with the thickness.
Right.
I get that people like, oh, they want to look like. No, reality is, I don't want to have to take out an extra insurance policy.
I'm going.
All these people.
One bite, everyone knows the rules. I'm going 9.3 on Nurse Chapel job performance. Looks.
I give it a 10. A fucking 10.
Job performance 9.1. I mean, she definitely got the look. Performance wise, 9.1.
PVG is about to score.
I give her 7, high 7.
Oh,
high 7. I'm looking. She's blonde.
Not exotic enough.
Not exotic enough. I'm looking at her eyebrows. The carpet matched the drapes. It's just.
Okay.
Front she looks great. Inside, I don't know.
Vulcans never bluff.
I mean, I did watch The Resonance that had Tilly in it.
You talking season 1, Tilly?
I think I may have been season 2, Tilly. She definitely had thickness on her.
She got some badonk. Was that trade?
She got
Taryn Tilly?
Ooh.
Taryn Tilly, when she was Taryn Captain.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
She was something.
Yep.
When she was Taryn.
Someone you don't take home to mama.
Now, in my opinion, the only higher score that I can think of would be
Paul.
Kelvin, Dr. Marcus.
Oh, that was right. I don't know why I called her Kelly, or Chapel. I mean, I think I'd rather look at Chapel than Marcus. Either way,
it's a win-win. It's a win-win either way.
Policy.
Eat your
I'm
cake.
gonna have to take some painkillers beforehand because neither one of them have any kind of padding around the hip area.
Are you sure?
Positive.
No, I thought Kelvin
Chapel,
Marcus was pretty well padded.
Mm-mm.
At least in the front, she was.
Okay.
That's no. There is no hip on the front. There is hip on hip on the other area, and that's just painful.
Okay. Well, let's see what's
Who's
next.
next.
There's no more next. I didn't have time to do next.
Oh man.
See, I don't even have a verses because it's like I was busy moving my kid into her new place. Let's just jump through these quotes real quick.
The OG kid or the secondary kid?
The OG kid she just moved out with her babies. They got their own place.
Okay.
Who said logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end? Guessing is okay.
B.
Sarek.
B. I'm gonna go B. Oh shit.
In the undiscovered
Most
country,
illogical.
Spock says this while mentoring Valeris, who turned out to be a traitor, I believe, right? Valeris was one of the traitors.
Yeah.
Sometimes a feeling is all we humans have to go on.
C.
B.
Survival is insufficient.
7.
Yeah.
B.
B. Yeah.
She says this in Picard. Without followers, evil cannot spread.
B.
Okay.
In the OG episode.
I don't think I watched that episode.
I don't know what season that is. I'm barely into season 2. I'm like 2 episodes in. A single act of compassion can put you on a completely different path.
B. No. C. Guinan.
A.
Emotional damage.
There's an old saying, fortune favors the bold.
B. Cisco.
It sounds like a Cisco thing.
I'm surprised no one's ever brought that up.
Sometimes the only way to gain a victory is to admit defeat. That's so stupid.
I'm gonna go with C.
Yeah. C. Janeway.
I gave you a clue. It was stupid. I think Janeway is stupid. The first duty of every Starfleet officer is to the truth.
B.
C.
Picard delivers this line to Wesley Crusher. Never turn your back on a brain.
On a brain.
I don't remember who Martok is. It sounds familiar. But I'm gonna go with Martok. I'm gonna go Fortune favors the bold. I'm gonna win B.
I'm gonna say C.
It's Worf. Worf warns of the brain's treachery in Deep Space Nine. That time is a predator that stalks us all our lives.
A.
C.
Soren says this in Generations. If we're going to be damned, let's be damned for what we really are.
B.
A. Oh, shit. Okay. It sounded like an Archer saying.
There's coffee in that nebula.
Janeway.
Who loves coffee?
Janeway.
I thought she went to tea.
Admiral Janeway went to tea. A good captain needs a sense of humor.
A.
C.
Kirk.
My name is Jeff.
No one is beyond redemption.
C.
A.
Trust is earned, not given freely.
Me.
B. Yeah.
Odo. We don't talk much about Odo. I need to start watching some DS9. Live now, make now always the most precious time.
B.
B.
Picard, you guys are right on top of things.
Because that was on the Inner Light, and I just rewatched that.
Oh yeah, we are all just the sum of our memories.
B.
A.
Data. Fear is the true enemy, the only enemy.
B.
Hey.
Chakotay.
Archer says this in Enterprise. I wouldn't know it because I cannot stand watching Enterprise. There's no shame.
We need to get into that.
All right, let's just finish this up. There's only like 2 more. There's no shame in losing to a superior opponent.
B.
I was going to say, it can't be Troy. Why would Troy give a shit? Sometimes the only way to win is to not play at all.
C. Dave, when he's playing that funky looking dude.
Garak.
Oh, shit.
All right. Oh, questions to ponder. In all Star Trek series and movies, how many times was the phrase "beam me up, Scotty" used?
Never.
I'm a doctor,
It was
not a
never
mechanic.
used.
The exact phrase "beam me up, Scotty" was never actually spoken in any official Star Trek TV series or films. Across all Star Trek series and films, how many characters use the phrase "I'm a doctor, not a whatever blank"?
2. Chapel
He's
and
dead,
McCoy.
Jim.
6. Have you and a lot of them are using it as kind of a as a reference back to Bones. When they say it, they'll say like, "I'm a doctor, not an engineer. I'm a doctor, not a miracle
I'm a
worker."
doctor, not a mechanic.
But they all say the phrase, "I'm a doctor, not a something." Even the
Dr. Leah
EMH.
Brahms, the one that trolled Geordi.
Yep. Last one. In what Star Trek series and by which species was the phrase "resistance is futile" first used?
TNG and the Borg.
And what's Star Trek series? Yeah.
TNG
Yeah.
and the Borg.
Yeah.
The first recorded use of the exact phrase "resistance is futile" in Star Trek occurred in TNG episode The Neutral Zone, which aired in 1988. It was not spoken by the Borg. It was said by a Romulan character.
Oh, shit.
The first time the Borg used it was in season 2, episode 16. So a Romulan said it in season 1, episode 26. In the episode The Neutral Zone. I knew that would throw you guys both off, so I did that on purpose. I'm scandalous.
Off we have been thrown.
Burn transmission. All right, let's
Hailing
go.
frequencies closed. So let's get into this. Why do you hate Enterprise?
All right, let's get into this.
Because I saw that in the thumbnail, and I can't read it. It's just like Enterprise sucks because of something.
It's just Archer. Archer sometimes is hit or miss. Like he's like sometimes he's good, but a lot of times he's. My whole problem with Enterprise is they act like they're not. Like, think about us right now, right? We're in what year is this? 2025.
We're in 19 something.
Yeah, we're in 2025, and I kind of brought this point up, last week where I said if an alien started teaching high school kids right now, the high school kids would not even think twice about it. They wouldn't even care.
Right, I agree with that.
So the fact that these Enterprise characters are so offended by Vulcans, it's like, Vulcans, like you're aliens. We're so offended by you. There's no, like, Vulcans were.
Wait, who's offended? What do you mean by offended?
They all hate like Trip. Trip says, I had a Vulcan teacher in 10th grade and I was scared to death of him. Like, why?
I'm wondering, it's because of the writers back at the time. They were
they wrote this in the late 80s, early 90s.
No, this is part of the first writer strike.
Because
you were complaining about another show, that wasn't coming on because of the writer strike.
Yeah. But you're saying that's why the writing is kind of bad.
The writing is kind of bad because of that, but also, I don't think they don't hate them as in a prejudice. They hate them because they held them back for 200 years. That's the premise of the entire. That's their animosity towards Vulcans is they held back the human race for so long because they thought they knew better. And they say that multiple times. Like Archer says that, you held my daddy back for over 100 years. Huh.
Oh, when he
It's
says
kinda
that
like
to the Vulcans, yeah.
It's kind of like in Top Gun Maverick, where Rooster's like, "Why do you hate him so much?" He's like, "He pulled my file," which means that while you guys went to college as a freshman, I got held back. So now I'm a super senior. I have 4 years of life experience that I had to wait to get put into this classes. That's why he hated Maverick so much. Most of the humans that are on that. Well, am I clipping out? Most of the humans that are on that. Oh, I think I am clipping out. Hold on a second.
You're not clipping. I mean, you're not. You sound fine here.
It's something else. All right. So most of the humans don't like the Vulcans because they hold back, and because you got a bunch of pencil pushers and politicians in charge, they're listening to the Vulcans instead of the people that are actually out doing the work.
Yeah,
Until season 2 or season 3, where even his main commander's like, "Look, motherfuckers, we've been doing this for a minute. We've survived this. Now we've retrofitted Enterprise. We got our sister ship up and running, and you're still telling us not to do this? You know what? Fuck that. Sink or swim. We need to get out there and start doing things.
Yeah, let us do our
Otherwise, we're just
job.
gonna look like bitches." Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the problem with watching Enterprise now is the fact that Enterprise was written by people back in the early 90s. And it's just not how we think about things anymore. Like, it's just not modern enough. Like, I think we're way more open-minded nowadays.
I agree.
Like, things like aliens and stuff, I don't think would really bother us. I mean, if these aliens weren't like trying to kill us and stuff, but like,
But you realize you just point out the problem with the series that we all want to see is that attitude of the characters is going to have to be prevalent. Because not only are we talking about going back and seeing how Starfleet was committed, you're also talking about introducing new races to people. And all of the characters are going to be xenophobic. They're all going to hate other aliens because because think of it this way. Look at right now. How would you react? How would your family dynamic be if a Vulcan shuttlecraft or spaceship disappeared in the sky right now? What's the very first thing?
They wouldn't care.
You would care because every family that is has a religious base. That's out the window now.
Not necessarily.
Really? Because that's the problem that a lot of people have is because you think of all the religions of the world, there's no reference to, other people came here before us. It is we evolved from Adam and Eve or even evolutionary period. All of that Catholicism. The fact that there's an alien species here throws basically human religion out the window.
Why? I don't think so.
Because it upends most religions.
No, because I don't see. I think it would just be if you're an alien, then you have your own religion.
You're thinking of religion as a choice, and it is a choice, really. But I'm talking about the diehards, saying there is only one true being that you can call God, and it is this.
But we're not calling aliens gods.
No, but you're also not saying that. Okay, you're saying that in the Bible or in the what is the other one? Quran, and there's another one. You're telling me that there's some reference to an alien species or the possibility of outside aliens? Nope. Yeah. That's where I think there would.
I think there is in the book of Genesis. Come on, man.
Okay. I'm just saying. I don't think you and I think a certain.
This has come up actually recently because of this pyramid stuff. Like, have you seen this pyramid stuff?
Yeah,
where
finding hidden pyramids?
Yeah. The SAR. I forgot what it stood for, but the SAR radar, SAR.
What, finding pyramids in Mexico?
No, they're finding underground structures now below the pyramids. They go like 2 kilometers deep.
I mean, that's always kind of been a theory on them.
So now they're almost thinking that the pyramid was just like an energy module, and because it's attached to these 8 like rings of whatever they are. They've got like these spirals that go up to the tops, and they're like.
So you're saying they're impulse engines?
Not necessarily, but they're like they like could be possible like subspace transmitters.
Okay, I mean that's very possible. Or they could be, wait for it, landing pads. Shout out to the Stargate people out there.
Or it could be the ship itself. No, one of the things that they said was pretty incredible about this particular pyramid is that it is pointing to like the magnetic North Pole to like such a accuracy that they can't imagine how it could have been possible, 3,000 years ago.
At first you see these pyramids, you're thinking, man, it's unbelievable how these pyramids are made. And I don't care what, my profession is maintenance. I fix things. I'm mechanically inclined. I know a lot of stuff about just enough to be dangerous. And to make...
That was her podcast name.
But just to make these pyramids is unbelievable and mind-boggling. And then you hear about this, their structures underground, and they're so precise. It's like you think the pyramids are so fascinating and unbelievable how to make them. Hold my beer. You got to see what's underneath these things.
I've heard of that theory that the pyramids were not. So for a long time, people were saying the pyramids were constructed and they gathered stones and everything else like that from around. But then they're like, where are these stones coming from?
Yeah.
Where's this coming from? And they're like, well, we can't figure out how they traverse, kilometers and kilometers of these pyramids.
Yeah, they're like 500 kilometers away. That's the stones are coming, like the limestone is like 500 kilometers.
Right, but if you dug the limestone out from the bottom and extracted it up, you leave a crevice there. You leave an opening.
Yeah.
So you literally could say that the pyramids are built from the bottom up, and they're simply taking the stones that they're extracting, and they're basically building down, but in reverse order. So you're basically digging a hole, but you're leaving the crevice there, and you're building the stones that you extracted around it. Because otherwise... You're telling me these people drag stones? Because you got to remember this. One of the last pyramids, there was a building that was finished construction in the United States when one of the last pyramids, I think, was finished. But I don't remember which one it was. It was either the Empire State Building or it was some big building that they're like, what people don't realize about history is when this building was finished, they had just finished one of the last pyramids. And it's like, if you know that they just finished the last pyramid, why didn't you just ask those motherfuckers how it was built? So I'm not surprised that they're now discovering these underground caverns of the pyramids, because that makes total sense.
Before we wrap, I wanted to give what my series was going to be.
Okay, what's your series?
A Nurse Chapel spinoff.
Why? I'm doing what? What is Nurse Chapel going to do? Are you
Just
talking about like
she wants.
You're talking like an Ally McBeal version of Nurse Chapel, just a day in the life, like a K-drama,
almost like a
life?
Big Bang Theory comedy setup.
Which timeline, Nurse Chapel?
Yeah.
Oh gee, no. Let's do Strange New Worlds, Nurse Chapel.
I mean, part of that is part of my series, because just in the episode that I just watched where her and Vega go off on the Vulcans. They serve together, and the Klingon War. So I mean, are we talking pre? Are we talking Cochrane era Nurse Chapel? No, you can't even do that.
Nurse Chapel's
that's too
grandma?
No, you can't even do that because that's too far back.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Or maybe like a spin-off with the Mud Dude with all the girls.
I think a lot of these would be good as just a Star Trek shorts, like hour and a half long episodes, like that focus on characters. Mud, how he came to be, what impact he had, and where is he at now? Nurse Chapel, Yeoman Rand, kind of like a live. Oh yeah, that was my other series. Was a live action.
We need like a rebooted Yeoman Rand. Like, I want to see what they would pick for a Yeoman Rand, like a Strange New World version.
It would be a dude.
Probably.
If it was Discovery, it would be a dude. That Discovery was very woke.
Why the fuck you lying?
You know I'm not lying. You know I ain't lying. They would have made it. Ensign Rand would have been a dude, and there would have been a love triangle between the two other dudes, the two other doctors, the Spore Drive guy and the other doctor.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to watch. I'm watching Discovery, and I'm really not liking the Terran universe stuff. I find it kind of boring.
With Giorgio?
Yeah, when they just cross over into the Terran universe because of Lorca.
I think that's.
And I know he did it on purpose.
There's so many things. I don't know how woke you want to be about this on the show.
Oh, speaking of woke, before we wrap, because I got to drain the captain. There is now, I guess, and I haven't read this myself. I just saw somebody else post a video about this. There is a delay in Strange New World Season 3 because Paramount says it's too woke and they need to reshoot some of the shit and get some of the wokeness out of it. And that's why it's not being announced when it's going to be released, because they're doing reshoots.
I could see that. I could see the influence of how Discovery did and how that panned out against Strange New Worlds, and then later on them realizing, oh shit, we fucked up, and we don't want to lose
too far.
Because Strange New Worlds, even though it has a limited lifespan, you know. At some point, it's gonna be Kirk. You know that, but it has. I think it has at least 2 or 3 more seasons in it.
Yeah.
But if you woke it out like they did, or like they initially did with Discovery, it's not gonna last, and then they're gonna be screwed.
Yeah.
And I think same thing goes with the Starfleet Academy one. If they try and make that completely woke, and I get, all inclusivity of people, but when you I like how the Kelvin timeline did it, and I'm not saying I have anything against any kind of sexual preferences, but they made it clear that Sulu was same-sex marriage, had a child together. They made it clear, but it was not thrown in your face as much as Discovery did with the doctor, the science guy, and then the prodigy engineer that could just solve anything, and then their
by hitting it with a wrench.
Whatever hologram turned into a real boy Pinocchio, non-gendered specific. I don't even know what it was.
Here's the thing. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about race, sexual orientation, if the story is good. If you come up with a good plot, a good story, and you got whoever black, white, ching chong, and aliens and stuff. I don't care about that. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're a T or a B or a plus, whatever. If the story's good, I'm gonna watch. But if your story is just telling me about the G's and the T's and the B's, that's gonna bore me.
Right.
If you turn Star Trek into a soap opera, and it's all about, or Grey's Anatomy, and it's all about their inner relationship, and I'm so in love, or I'm so torn, or how do I feel? And that's not Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, if you just want to tell me about how women are good leaders, that might get boring. I mean, just tell me a good story. You know, it's like, yes, obviously women are good leaders. You don't have to make that your focal point. Just tell me a story where a woman happens to be a leader.
I agree, 200%.
And
I agree with what also Mgyx says.
What'd he say?
Yeah.
You know, like in Sulu was same sex, and they didn't shove it down your throat. They let you know it was there, but they didn't, shove it down your throat.
Aside from him sword fighting with no shirt on and all greased up.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, that's totally different though.
In the OG, Gene Roddenberry, he put a black gal in, a Chinese guy in, a Russian, a white. They all got together, and he could have put somebody gay. I mean, Sulu. I'm sure Gene Roddenberry knew that Sulu was gay. At least I would have thought. That's in my opinion.
What gave it away?
But
oh no,
it's.
Oh my!
But he didn't.
That's not even from Star Trek, right? That sample is from
Howard Stern or something.
Howard Stern,
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think Roddenberry knew, but he said this does not apply to our show. This has nothing to do with our show and what the plot point of the show is.
He just wanted everybody to get along, to work as one. For the Federation, don't care who you are, green, black, purple, female, male, female/male, I guess, don't shove it down our throat. We're all for one cause.
And I think they did that, and especially with TNG. I think when he did want to throw it down your throat, it was done as a whole story, not just the characters. Like when you had the race that is black on one side and white on the other, and at the end they're like, you realize you're both the fucking same, right? Or the fact that, with the Romulans and the Vulcans, hey, y'all motherfuckers are first cousins. Like first cousins,
exactly.
Not distant cousins, and those aspects. And I think it's the woke movement that turned entire episodes into, we're going to talk about, Stamets and the doctor and the prodigy and her trans boyfriend. And here's the other thing. This is how you could definitely tell it was more woke than anything. And I'm not saying that I have issue. I'm a big dude. But you could have big people that look good on Star Trek. Tilly is a good example. But then you got these other characters that just have odd bodies. Like Weeble Wobble, not just, the shape is not there. Like, you're like, what is that?
Why
you can't tell.
You lying?
It's
why you always lying?
I mean, think of it. Look at
season one Tilly. I'm on board with season one
and
Tilly.
That's good. But then look at the engineering prodigy. What was there? I don't know if that was intentionally done that way. Same thing with her love interest, the dude that eventually became a Trill or whatever. I mean, I don't have the greatest teeth in the world, but that motherfucker look like they cast him out of AJ. He just got finished smoking some rocks. Like, dude, your gaps got gaps in your
DEI.
Teeth. No, dude, that's not even DEI. Gap teeth, that looks like you got baby teeth. like in a grown person's body, that don't look right. You
All right,
know,
we got to wrap because I got to drain, and the draining it's getting to a critical mass. All right, I got some more Crewman Patty videos coming on deck, so those will be coming out in the next day or so, and I got to get all my shit fixed. We gotta. No drop frames tonight. Everything looks good.
have we ever had drop frames?
No drop frame. We had drop frames last time. No, not last time. The time before that. Last time I fixed everything, but this time I tried to add borders around our windows, and I think I fucked up.
Okay.
And then I had a camera go dead, so I got to fix that. So we're going to fix all this stuff before next week.
Today at our location, we had tornado warnings. You know, there was a tornado watch, and I don't know, maybe shields weren't up high enough.
Yeah, we
Red
had
alert.
we had some interference. You know, it's like a nebula had come
Phase
through.
variance.
Yes.
Something. I
yes.
need to do an
Phase variance
inverse
in the
tachyon
dialect, yes.
pulse and just fix all this shit.
Shields up, red alert.
But all right, we're gonna bounce. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Don't forget follow us on TikTok and subscribe
Wait,
here.
what's the homework for this week?
Ooh, what movie are we gonna watch? Voyage Home.
I've already watched it.
I need to watch that. Let's just watch some more OG.
You're gonna watch Voyage Home?
I'm
The
gonna watch
Whales?
Voyage Home.
Okay.
What's after the voyage home?
Undiscovered Country. And I just watched that.
Yeah,
So we can talk about that too.
Voyage home is good.
All right. I'm going to watch. I know you were just talking. You just watched it. So I'm going to watch it. And all right. And we'll put some, I'll put a post out or something if there's any more homework. Thanks to Crewman Sherry for tuning in. And we will catch you guys on the flip flop.
Crewman Sherry, you have to research. Your homework is to determine what is a higher rank, crewman or yeoman.
And on that note, we out.
Hailing
Peace.
frequencies closed.